The year was 2010. TikTok by Kesha woke us up feeling like P. Diddy. Inception blew our minds in theaters, and The Walking Dead shuffled onto TV screens. But 2010 was also a legendary year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain was an interactive drama that put players in the shoes of 4 characters hunting the origami killer, with choices that drastically altered the story's outcome. Its moody atmosphere and cinematic presentation were groundbreaking. The game's development involved motion capture with real actors to bring its emotional depth to life, a rarity for its time. At number 9, let's talk about Assassin's Creed. Brotherhood. Brotherhood expanded Ezio's saga in Rome, introducing a brotherhood of assassins to command, and the series' first multiplayer mode. Its open-world traversal and Renaissance intrigue were top-notch. The game's multiplayer was a surprise hit, inspiring Ubisoft to include it in future titles as a core feature. Number 8 brings us Call of Duty, Black Ops. Black Ops took Call of Duty into the Cold War with a twisty campaign, memorable characters like Reznov, and a multiplayer suite that introduced the wager match mode. Its Zombies mode became a fan favorite. The game's numbers sequence was so intense that it's still cited as one of the most gripping openings in shooter history. Sliding into number 7, we find God of War 3. God of War 3 concluded Kratos' Greek saga, with colossal battles against the gods, breathtaking visuals, and a relentless pace that pushed the PS3 to its limits. Its scale was mythic. The game's Titan battles were so complex that the team had to rewrite the engine to handle their massive animations. At number 6, we have Rock Band 3. Rock Band 3 turned up the jam with a keyboard peripheral, pro modes for real instrument skills, and a massive track list that spanned genres. It was the ultimate music party game. The game's pro guitar mode used a 102-button controller, bridging the gap between gaming and actual musicianship. Number 5 is Halo. Reach. Reach was a prequel that told the tragic tale of noble team on the planet Reach, with a refined campaign and multiplayer that added Forge World for endless creativity. Its firefight mode was a blast. The game's development focused on giving each Spartan a distinct personality, making their sacrifices hit harder. At number 4, we have Fallout New Vegas. New Vegas brought the wasteland to the Mojave with a rich RPG experience, factions to align with, and a story penned by Obsidian Entertainment. Its freedom and quirks were unmatched. The game was built in just 18 months, yet it's often hailed as one of the deepest Fallout entries thanks to its writing. Number 3 is Super Mario Galaxy 2. Super Mario Galaxy 2 refined its predecessor's gravity-defying platforming with new power-ups like the Rock Mushroom, tighter level designs, and Yoshi joining the cosmic adventure. Its creativity and polish made it a masterpiece of 3D Mario gaming. The game was originally planned as an expansion for the first Galaxy, but grew into a full sequel due to the team's overflowing ideas. At number 2, we have Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 deepened Shepard's sci-fi saga with a crew of richly developed characters, a suicide mission finale, and refined RPG shooter gameplay. Its loyalty missions added emotional stakes to every decision. The game's development included recording over 90,000 lines of dialogue, making it one of the most voice-acted games of its era. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption was an open-world Western epic following John Marston's quest for redemption across a sprawling frontier. Its story, world design, and multiplayer posse action were unparalleled. Rockstar spent years researching the American West, even consulting historians to ensure the game's authenticity, from saloons to train robberies. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 games of 2010, each a titan that shaped the early 2010s gaming landscape. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2011. The year was 2011. Rolling in the Deep by Adele was the soulful hit. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 wrapped up a magical era in theaters, and Game of Thrones roared onto TV screens. But 2011 was also a monumental year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have L.A. Noire. L.A. Noire transported players to 1940s Los Angeles as Detective Cole Phelps, solving crimes with groundbreaking facial motion capture and interrogation mechanics. Its noir atmosphere and branching cases felt like stepping into a detective film. The game's motion scan technology recorded actors' faces in 32 different angles, creating some of the most realistic expressions in gaming at the time. At number 9, we have The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword took Link to the skies with motion-controlled swordplay, exploring a vibrant world above and below the clouds. Its story laid the foundation for the Zelda timeline. The game's development focused heavily on refining Wii Motion Plus controls, making every swing and thrust feel precise and immersive. Number 8 brings us Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. Uncharted 3 upped the ante with Nathan Drake's globe-trotting adventure, featuring jaw-dropping set pieces like a cargo plane crash and refined multiplayer modes. Its cinematic storytelling was unmatched. The game's desert sequence was inspired by real-life Bedouin tribes, with Naughty Dog researching their culture to add authenticity. Sliding into number 7, we find Deus Ex: Human Revolution. Human Revolution was a cyberpunk RPG masterpiece, blending stealth, combat, and player choice in a world of corporate conspiracies and human augmentation. Its yellow-tinted aesthetic became iconic. The game's multiple endings were so varied that players could finish without killing anyone, showcasing its depth in player agency. At number 6, we have Terraria. Terraria was a 2D sandbox adventure that mixed exploration, building, and combat in a pixel art world full of secrets and bosses. Its endless replayability made it a cult classic. The game was created by a small indie team led by Andrew Spinks, who coded it in his spare time, proving passion projects can become global hits. Number 5 is Batman: Arkham City. Arkham City expanded the Arkham formula, with an open-world Gotham, where Batman faced off against villains like the Joker and Hugo Strange. Its fluid combat and stealth were perfection. The game's voice cast included Mark Hamill as the Joker, delivering a performance so iconic it's considered one of the best in gaming. At number 4, we have Dark Souls. Dark Souls redefined action RPGs with its unforgiving difficulty, intricate world design, and cryptic storytelling. Its interconnected world and punishing combat inspired a genre. Hidetaka Miyazaki drew inspiration from his childhood love of choose-your-own-adventure books, shaping the game's mysterious narrative. Number 3 is Portal 2. Portal 2 expanded on its predecessor with a deeper story, new puzzles, and the sarcastic wit of GLaDOS and Wheatley. Its co-op mode added a fresh layer of portal shooting fun. Valve's writers collaborated with comedians to perfect the game's humor, making every line a masterclass in sharp, dry wit. At number 2, we have The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. Skyrim was an epic RPG that dropped players into a vast Nordic world of dragons, magic, and endless quests. Its freedom to forge your own path made it a cultural phenomenon. The game's Radiant Quest system dynamically generated missions, ensuring players always had something new to discover. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is Minecraft. Minecraft was a creative revolution, letting players build, explore, and survive in a blocky, procedurally generated world. Its sandbox freedom sparked a global craze that's still thriving. Marcus Notch Persson developed the game in his spare time, releasing early versions to a small community that grew into millions. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 games of 2011, each a cornerstone of gaming's golden era. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2012. The year was 2012. Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen was the earworm we couldn't shake. The Avengers assembled in theaters, and Homeland kept us on edge with its TV intrigue. But 2012 was also an extraordinary year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Diablo 3. Diablo 3 returned players to Sanctuary with a polished action RPG experience, featuring new classes, a dynamic skill system, and the addictive hunt for legendary loot. Its online focus sparked both excitement and debate among fans. The game's auction house, where players could buy and sell gear, was a bold experiment that shaped discussions on in-game economies. At number 9, let's talk about Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami was a neon-soaked top-down shooter with brutal, fast-paced combat and a surreal story set in an 80s-inspired underworld. Its retro aesthetic and thumping soundtrack were electrifying. The game was developed by just 2 people, Jonathan Söderström and Dennis Wedden, proving indie passion could rival big-budget titles. Number 8 brings us Animal Crossing: New Leaf. New Leaf transformed the series by letting players become mayor of their town, with new customization options, online features, and a vibrant community to nurture. Its charm was irresistible. The game's introduction of the island for minigames was inspired by the developer's love of tropical getaways, adding a vacation vibe. Sliding into number 7, we find XCOM: Enemy Unknown. Enemy Unknown revived the classic strategy series with tense turn-based combat against alien invaders, base management, and permadeath that made every soldier's loss sting. Its strategic depth was addictive. The game's randomized missions ensured no two playthroughs were the same, keeping players on their toes. At number 6, we have Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 cranked up the loot shooter chaos with a bigger world, wittier humor, and a memorable villain in Handsome Jack. Its co-op gameplay and billions of guns kept players hooked. The game's writing team, led by Anthony Birch, leaned heavily into internet meme culture, making its dialogue a time capsule of 2012 humor. Number 5 is Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3 concluded Commander Shepard's trilogy with an epic galactic war, refined RPG mechanics, and choices that carried weight from the series' start. Its multiplayer was a surprise hit. The game's ending sparked intense fan debate, leading BioWare to release an extended cut to address player feedback, a rare move in gaming. At number 4, we have Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 dropped players onto a tropical island ruled by the charismatic villain Vaz, with open-world exploration, stealth, and intense firefights. Its story of descent into madness was gripping. Vaz, played by Michael Mando, was so compelling that he became one of gaming's most iconic antagonists, stealing the show. Number 3 is Dishonored. Dishonored was a stealth action gem set in the steampunk city of Dunwall, where players as Corvo could blend supernatural powers with precise combat. Its freedom of choice was revolutionary. The game's art director, Viktor Antonov, also worked on Half-Life 2, giving Dishonored a distinct painterly aesthetic. At number 2, we have Journey. Journey was an emotional, wordless adventure through a desert, where players connected with strangers online to share a mysterious pilgrimage. Its visuals and music were transcendent. The game's scarf mechanic, which grew as you collected glyphs, was inspired by the idea of a player's journey leaving a visible mark. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead by Telltale Games was a narrative triumph, focusing on Lee and Clementine's survival in a zombie apocalypse. Its choice-driven story and emotional weight redefined adventure games. The game's success led to a surge in episodic storytelling in games, with Telltale becoming a leader in the format. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 games of 2012, each a shining star in gaming's vibrant history. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2013. The year was 2013. Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke, featuring T.I. and Pharrell, was the summer jam. Iron Man 3 blasted into theaters, and Breaking Bad reached its explosive finale on TV. But 2013 was also a phenomenal year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider rebooted Lara Croft's origin story with a gritty, survival-driven adventure on a mysterious island. Its cinematic action, exploration, and character growth redefined the franchise. Crystal Dynamics worked with survival experts to ensure Lara's resourcefulness felt authentic, from crafting arrows to navigating treacherous cliffs. At number 9, let's talk about Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. Black Flag set sail with Edward Kenway, blending pirate adventures with assassin stealth across the Caribbean. Its naval combat and open-world exploration were a high-water mark for the series. The game's sea shanties, sung by the crew, became so popular that Ubisoft released an official soundtrack of them due to fan demand. Number 8 brings us Rayman Legends. Rayman Legends was a vibrant platformer with hand-drawn art, rhythm-based levels, and co-op chaos that made every stage a delight. Its creativity and polish shone on multiple platforms. The game's musical levels, where you platform to the beat of songs like Black Betty, were inspired by the developer's love of music festivals. Sliding into number 7, we find Super Mario 3D World. Super Mario 3D World brought multiplayer Mario platforming to the Wii U with inventive levels, new power-ups like the cat suit, and a whimsical world bursting with charm. Its accessibility was perfect for all ages. The game's development team drew inspiration from Japanese culture, with levels mimicking traditional art styles. At number 6, we have The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. A Link Between Worlds was a top-down Zelda masterpiece on the 3DS, blending nostalgia from A Link to the Past, with a new wall-merging mechanic. Its non-linear dungeon order was refreshing. The game's Lorule was designed as a dark mirror to Hyrule, with its music and visuals crafted to evoke a haunting contrast. Number 5 is Kentucky Route Zero. Kentucky Route Zero was an indie narrative adventure, telling a surreal, episodic story of loss and discovery along a mysterious highway. Its poetic dialogue and minimalist art were captivating. The game's developers, Cardboard Computer, released it over 7 years, creating a slow-burn masterpiece that felt like interactive literature. At number 4, we have Dota 2. Dota 2 took the MOBA genre to new heights with its strategic depth, massive hero roster, and thriving esports scene. Valve's polish and free-to-play model made it a global phenomenon. The game's international tournament in 2013 offered a $2.8 million prize pool, one of the largest in esports history at the time. Number 3 is BioShock Infinite. BioShock Infinite soared into the skies of Columbia with Booker DeWitt and Elizabeth, weaving a complex narrative about faith, freedom, and alternate realities. Its vibrant world and story twists were unforgettable. The game's floating city was inspired by the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition, blending historical and fantastical elements. At number 2, we have The Last of Us. The Last of Us was a narrative triumph following Joel and Ellie's journey through a post-apocalyptic America. Its emotional storytelling, stealth combat hybrid, and character depth set a new standard. Naughty Dog recorded over 90% of the game's dialogue in motion capture, ensuring every scene felt raw and authentic. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is Grand Theft Auto V. GTA V was a monumental open-world epic, with 3 protagonists, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor, navigating a sprawling Los Santos. Its heists, online mode, and detailed world were unmatched. The game's development cost over $265 million, making it one of the most expensive games ever. But it earned that back in just days. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 games of 2013, each a landmark in gaming's modern era. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2014. The year was 2014. Happy by Pharrell Williams was the feel-good anthem, Guardians of the Galaxy blasted into theaters, and True Detective gripped us with its TV drama. But 2014 was also a stellar year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started! Kicking things off at number 10, we have The Binding of Isaac. Rebirth. Rebirth was a roguelike masterpiece, remaking the original with expanded content, randomized dungeons, and a haunting story of sacrifice. Its pixel art and endless replayability hooked players. The game's creator, Edmund Macmillan, drew inspiration from his religious upbringing, infusing the game with deeply personal themes. At number 9, let's talk about Far Cry 4. Far Cry 4 took players to the Himalayan nation of Kyrat, ruled by the charismatic villain Pagan Min. Its open-world chaos, from elephant rides to wingsuit glides, was thrilling, with a robust co-op mode. The game's development involved consulting with Nepalese historians to ensure cultural authenticity in its architecture and rituals. Number 8 brings us Wolfenstein: The New Order. The New Order revived the classic FPS series with a bold alternate history where Nazis won World War II. B.J. Blazkowicz's fight blended visceral gunplay with a surprisingly heartfelt story. The game's developers at Machine Games included hidden levels from the original Wolfenstein 3D, paying homage to its roots. Sliding into number 7, we find Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 was a stylish action sequel, with the witch Bayonetta unleashing over-the-top combos in a dazzling world of angels and demons. Its fluid combat and vibrant visuals were pure Platinum Games magic. The game was a Wii U exclusive, funded by Nintendo, which helped save the project when it was nearly cancelled. At number 6, we have Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight was a retro-inspired platformer that captured the spirit of 8-bit classics with tight controls, charming pixel art, and a knight wielding a shovel. Its expansions added even more depth. Yacht Club Games crowdfunded the project on Kickstarter, raising over $300,000 from fans who craved old-school vibes. Number 5 is Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Smash Bros. For Wii U brought Nintendo's brawler to new heights with a massive roster, 8-player battles, and crisp HD visuals. Its competitive scene and amiibo integration were game-changers. The game's director, Masahiro Sakurai, worked through a painful injury to deliver this title, showing his dedication to fans. At number 4, we have Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 continued the series' brutal legacy with a new world, relentless difficulty, and refined mechanics like dual wielding. Its interconnected areas rewarded exploration and perseverance. The game introduced the Covenant system, letting players join factions that altered their online experience, adding strategic depth. Number 3 is Dragon Age: Inquisition. Inquisition was BioWare's epic RPG return, with a vast open world, deep companion stories, and choices that shaped the fate of Thaddeus. Its tactical combat and exploration were immersive. The game's Frostbite engine allowed for dynamic weather and destructible environments, making every battle visually spectacular. At number 2, we have Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor brought Tolkien's world to life with Talion's vengeance-driven quest, powered by the innovative Nemesis system that made every orc encounter unique. Its parkour and combat were fluid. The Nemesis system was so groundbreaking that it influenced game design across genres, earning patents for its tech. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 raced onto the Wii U with anti-gravity tracks, stunning visuals, and online play that kept the competition fierce. Its DLC added iconic courses and characters. The game's success helped revive the Wii U's fortune, selling millions and becoming one of Nintendo's best-selling titles of the era. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 games of 2014, each a vibrant piece of gaming's mid-2010s legacy. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2015. The year was 2015. Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson featuring Bruno Mars was the groove of the year. Mad Max, Fury Road roared into theaters, and Better Call Saul spun off into TV greatness. But 2015 was also an epic year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Yakuza 0. Yakuza 0 was a prequel to the beloved series, diving into the 1980s Tokyo underworld with Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima. Its blend of brawling, drama, and quirky side activities like karaoke made it a cult hit. The game's detailed recreation of 1980s Japan included real-world brands and locations, immersing players in a vibrant, retro cityscape. At number 9, let's talk about Ori and the Blind Forest. Ori and the Blind Forest was a breathtaking Metroidvania with stunning hand-painted visuals and an emotional story about a spirit guardian saving a dying forest. Its fluid platforming was a joy. The game's orchestral soundtrack by Gareth Coker was recorded with a live ensemble, giving its fairy tale world an unforgettable depth. Number 8 brings us Batman, Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight concluded Rocksteady's trilogy with a dark open-world Gotham, where Batman faced the Scarecrow and the mysterious Arkham Knight. The Batmobile added new gameplay flair. The game's voice cast reunited Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as Batman and Joker, delivering performances that fans still rave about. Sliding into number 7, we find Rocket League. Rocket League turned soccer into a high-octane, car-fueled spectacle with tight controls and chaotic multiplayer that made every goal a thrill. Its esports scene exploded in popularity. The game was a spiritual successor to a lesser-known PS3 title, supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars, refined into a global phenomenon. At number 6, we have Super Mario Maker. Super Mario Maker let players create and share their own Mario levels, from classic 8-bit to modern styles, sparking endless creativity on the Wii U. Its community levels were wild and inventive. The game's development was inspired by internal Nintendo tools used to design Mario levels, turned into a player-friendly tool set. Number 5 is Fallout 4. Fallout 4 dropped players into a vibrant post-apocalyptic Boston, with deep crafting, base building, and a story about finding your lost son. Its open-world exploration was massive and engaging. The game's companion Dogmeat was modeled after a real German Shepherd, owned by one of Bethesda's developers, adding a personal touch. At number 4, we have Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. The Phantom Pain was Hideo Kojima's open-world stealth epic, following Big Boss in a sprawling sandbox with unparalleled freedom in missions. Its story and gameplay were ambitious. The game's Fox engine allowed for dynamic weather and day-night cycles, making every infiltration feel alive and unpredictable. Number 3 is Bloodborne. Bloodborne was From Software's Gothic masterpiece, blending Dark Souls' punishing difficulty with faster, aggressive combat in the nightmarish city of Yharnam. Its lore was hauntingly deep. The game's Chalice dungeons were procedurally generated, offering endless replayability and a new challenge with every dive. At number 2, we have Undertale. Undertale was an indie RPG sensation, where your choices shaped a quirky, heartfelt story with monsters in an underground world. Its retro visuals hid a profound narrative about mercy and morality. Creator Toby Fox composed the entire soundtrack and developed most of the game solo, showcasing incredible multitasking talent. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt. Wild Hunt was a sprawling RPG epic, following Geralt of Rivia across a war-torn world with unmatched storytelling, side quests, and open-world detail. Its expansions were practically full games. CD Projekt Red hired folklorists to weave authentic Slavic mythology into the game, making its monsters and lore feel vividly real. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 games of 2015, each a shining star in gaming's renaissance. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2016. The year was 2016. Love Yourself by Justin Bieber was the chart-topping ballad. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, lit up theaters, and Stranger Things brought 80s nostalgia to TV. But 2016 was also a phenomenal year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 took players to the gritty trenches of World War I, with sprawling maps, dynamic weather, and visceral multiplayer battles that captured the chaos of early 20th century warfare. Its single-player war stories offered emotional vignettes. The game's developers studied real World War I archives to recreate authentic weapons, uniforms, and battlefields with stunning detail. At number 9, let's talk about Pokémon Sun and Moon. Pokémon Sun and Moon introduced the tropical Alola region, shaking up the series with new mechanics like Z-moves and no gyms, replaced by island trials. Its vibrant world and story were a fresh evolution. The game's Alola forms, regional variants of classic Pokémon, were inspired by real-world ecological adaptations in Hawaii. Number 8 brings us Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley was an indie farming sim that captured hearts with its pixel art charm, letting players tend crops, fish, mine, and build relationships in a cozy rural town. Its depth was astounding. The game was single-handedly created by Eric Barone, who spent 4 years coding, designing, and composing its iconic soundtrack. Sliding into number 7, we find Inside. Inside was a haunting puzzle platformer from Playdead, following a boy's eerie journey through a dystopian world. Its minimalist storytelling, unsettling atmosphere, and precise mechanics were masterful. The game's ambiguous narrative sparked countless fan theories, with its ending still debated as one of gaming's most enigmatic moments. At number 6, we have Pokémon Go. Pokémon Go turned the world into a Pokémon playground, using augmented reality to let players catch creatures in real-world locations. It sparked a global craze, getting millions outdoors. The game's launch was so massive that servers crashed repeatedly, and it reportedly got players walking over 8 billion kilometers in its first year. Number 5 is Doom. Doom rebooted the classic FPS with relentless, high-speed demon-slaying action, a pounding metal soundtrack, and a campaign that embraced pure, unapologetic chaos. Its multiplayer and snap map editor added longevity. The game's glory kills were designed to reward aggressive play, encouraging players to dive into the fray rather than hide. At number 4, we have Overwatch. Overwatch redefined team-based shooters with its colorful cast of heroes, each with unique abilities and a focus on cooperative strategy. Its vibrant world and esports scene exploded in popularity. Blizzard created detailed backstories for each hero, with animated shorts and comics that deepened the game's lore. Number 3 is Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 was From Software's brutal swan song for the series, blending refined combat, interconnected worlds, and a bleakly beautiful story of fire and ash. Its difficulty remained legendary. The game's director, Hidetaka Miyazaki, cited Gothic literature and medieval art as key inspirations, shaping its haunting aesthetic. At number 2, we have Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Uncharted 4 was Naughty Dog's cinematic masterpiece, concluding Nathan Drake's saga with a personal story, breathtaking visuals, and refined gameplay across exotic locales. Its pacing was flawless. The game's Madagascar chase sequence took over a year to develop, pushing the PS4's limits for one of gaming's most thrilling moments. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is Persona 5. Persona 5 was a stylish JRPG that followed the Phantom Thieves in Tokyo, blending social sim, dungeon crawling, and a story about rebellion. Its vibrant art and jazz soundtrack were iconic. The game's development spanned nearly a decade, with Atlas crafting a narrative that tackled societal issues like corruption and freedom. And there you have it, folks! The top 10 games of 2016, each a vibrant chapter in gaming's legacy. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2017. The year was 2017. Shape of You by Ed Sheeran was the anthem of the year. Wonder Woman soared into theaters. And The Handmaid's Tale gripped TV audiences. But 2017 was also a transformative year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Injustice 2. Injustice 2 brought DC's superheroes and villains back for a cinematic fighting game, with refined mechanics, a deep gear system, and a story that rivaled comic book arcs. Its roster included everyone from Batman to Atrocitus. The game's facial animations were so detailed that NetherRealm used motion capture to capture every smirk and scowl, elevating its storytelling. At number 9, let's talk about What Remains of Edith Finch. What Remains of Edith Finch was a narrative masterpiece, a collection of short stories about the cursed Finch family, each told through unique gameplay vignettes. Its emotional depth and creativity were unparalleled. The game's developers at Giant Sparrow drew inspiration from magical realism, crafting tales that felt like interactive literature. Number 8 brings us Fortnite. Fortnite exploded onto the scene with its free-to-play Battle Royale mode, blending building mechanics with fast-paced shooting in a colorful, ever-evolving world. Its cultural impact was massive. Epic Games initially launched Fortnite as a co-op survival game, but the Battle Royale pivot became one of gaming's biggest success stories. Sliding into number 7, we find PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. PUBG pioneered the Battle Royale genre, dropping 100 players onto a massive map to scavenge and survive until one remained. Its tense, unpredictable matches hooked millions. The game was inspired by the 2000 film Battle Royale, with creator Brendan Green modding similar concepts in earlier games before crafting PUBG. At number 6, we have Cuphead. Cuphead was a run-and-gun indie with 1930s cartoon-inspired art and brutally challenging boss fights. Its jazz soundtrack and hand-drawn visuals made every battle a spectacle. The game's art was created using traditional animation techniques with over 50,000 hand-drawn frames, a labor of love by Studio MDHR. Number 5 is Divinity: Original Sin 2. Original Sin 2 was a landmark RPG with unparalleled freedom, letting players shape the story through deep combat, co-op multiplayer, and intricate quests in the world of Rivellon. Larian Studios crowdfunded the game, raising over $2 million to expand its scope, delivering one of the richest RPGs ever. At number 4, we have Nier Automata. Nier Automata was a philosophical action RPG, blending Platinum Games' slick combat with Yoko Taro's mind-bending story about androids and humanity. Its multiple endings kept players hooked. The game's iconic 2B was designed with input from Tetsuya Nomura, known for Final Fantasy, adding her sleek aesthetic. Number 3 is Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn introduced Aloy in a lush, post-apocalyptic world overrun by robotic creatures. Its open-world exploration, crafting, and gripping story were breathtaking on the PS4. Guerrilla Games, known for Killzone, transitioned to open-world design for this title, spending years perfecting its vibrant ecosystem. At number 2, we have Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey was a joyous 3D platformer, with Mario traveling across diverse kingdoms using Cappy to possess enemies and objects. Its creativity and polish were Nintendo at its peak. The game's kingdoms, like New Donk City, were inspired by real-world cultures, blending surreal and familiar elements. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild redefined open-world gaming with its vast Hyrule, where players could climb, glide, and explore with unprecedented freedom. Its physics-based gameplay was revolutionary. Nintendo delayed the game to perfect its open-ended design, ensuring every corner of the world felt alive and worth discovering. And there you have it, folks, the top 10 games of 2017, each a shining beacon in gaming's modern renaissance. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2018. The year was 2018. God's Plan by Drake was the anthem on every playlist. Black Panther ruled the box office, and The Haunting of Hill House chilled us on TV. But 2018 was also an extraordinary year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Subnautica. Subnautica plunged players into an alien ocean world, blending survival, exploration, and crafting as you built bases and uncovered a mysterious narrative. Its underwater beauty was both serene and terrifying. The game's sound design used real aquatic recordings to create an immersive underwater atmosphere, making every dive feel authentic. At number 9, let's talk about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey took players to ancient Greece as either Cassandra or Alexios, with a massive open world, RPG mechanics, and choices that shaped your mercenary's journey. Its naval combat and mythical elements were epic. Ubisoft consulted Greek historians to ensure the game's cities, like Athens, reflected the period's architecture and culture. Number 8 brings us Return of the Obra Dinn. Return of the Obra Dinn was a haunting detective game where you pieced together the fates of a doomed ship's crew using a magical pocket watch. Its one-bit art style and intricate storytelling were unique. Creator Lucas Pope spent years perfecting the game's deduction mechanics, making every mystery feel like a rewarding puzzle. Sliding into number 7, we find Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World brought Capcom's beast-slaying series to a global audience with seamless open-world environments, deep combat, and cooperative hunts against massive creatures. Its ecosystem felt alive. The game's monsters were designed with real-world animal behaviors in mind, making each hunt feel like stalking a living creature. At number 6, we have Celeste. Celeste was an indie platformer with pixel-perfect controls, following Madeline's climb up a treacherous mountain while tackling themes of mental health. Its heartfelt story and assist mode made it accessible. The game's developer, Maddie Thorson, drew from personal experiences with anxiety, infusing the narrative with raw emotion. Number 5 is Among Us. Among Us was a social deduction game that became a cultural phenomenon, tasking players with identifying imposters on a spaceship while completing tasks. Its simple premise sparked endless fun. The game was initially released in 2018 but exploded in popularity in 2020, showing how sleeper hits can redefine gaming trends. At number 4, we have Marvel's Spider-Man. Marvel's Spider-Man swung onto the PS4 with fluid web-slinging, satisfying combat, and a heartfelt Peter Parker story set in a vibrant New York City. Its side missions were as compelling as the main plot. Insomniac Games worked with Marvel to ensure every suit, from classic to Iron Spider, felt true to Spider-Man's comic legacy. Number 3 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Ultimate lived up to its name with every fighter from the series' history. New additions, like Ridley, and a sprawling World of Light campaign. Its multiplayer was chaotic perfection. Director Masahiro Sakurai included over 800 music tracks, making it one of the largest video game soundtracks ever. At number 2, we have God of War. God of War reinvented Kratos as a father in a Norse mythology epic, with cinematic one-shot camera work, brutal combat, and a touching story about bonding with his son, Atreus. Its world was breathtaking. Santa Monica Studio rewrote the game's story multiple times to balance Kratos' rage with his newfound humanity. And finally, at the top spot, number 1, is Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 was a sprawling Western masterpiece, following Arthur Morgan and the Van der Linde gang in a richly detailed open world. Its narrative, side quests, and realism were unmatched. Rockstar's team spent over 7 years crafting the game, with actors performing over 2,000 pages of script for its cinematic depth. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 games of 2018, each a defining moment in gaming's late era. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2019. The year was 2019. Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, featuring Billy Ray Cyrus, galloped across the charts. Avengers Endgame closed a Marvel era in theaters, and The Mandalorian brought Baby Yoda to our TV screens. But 2019 was also a spectacular year for video games. Let's dive into the top 10 games that defined that year. Let's get started. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11 delivered visceral fighting with a time-bending story, stunning visuals, and refined mechanics that balanced accessibility with depth. Its roster and fatalities were as brutal as ever. NetherRealm Studios used advanced motion capture to make every punch and kick feel hyper-realistic, pushing the series' signature gore to new heights. At number 9, let's talk about Fire Emblem: Three Houses. Three Houses was a tactical RPG masterpiece, letting players lead one of three houses at a monastery while shaping students' futures through teaching and battles. Its story and relationships were deeply engaging. The game's development drew inspiration from classic literature, with its houses mirroring archetypes from medieval epics. Number 8 brings us Apex Legends. Apex Legends burst onto the Battle Royale scene with Respawn's signature tight gunplay, unique hero abilities, and a ping system that revolutionized team communication. Its fast-paced matches hooked millions. The game launched as a surprise release with no marketing build-up, yet it gained 25 million players in its first week. Sliding into number 7, we find Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5 brought Dante, Nero, and V back with stylish, over-the-top combat, a rocking soundtrack, and visuals powered by the RE engine. Its action was pure adrenaline. The game's development included scanning real-world clothing to ensure characters' outfits moved naturally during high-speed battles. At number 6, we have Star Wars Jedi: Fallen Order. Fallen Order was Respawn's love letter to Star Wars, following Jedi Padawan Cal Kestis in a Souls-inspired action-adventure with lightsaber combat and Force powers. Its worlds felt alive. The game's BD-1 droid was designed to be a companion as lovable as R2-D2, with animations inspired by real pets. Number 5 is Death Stranding. Death Stranding was Hideo Kojima's bold vision, a delivery simulator in a fractured world where players connected humanity as Sam Porter bridges. Its asynchronous multiplayer and surreal story were divisive yet unforgettable. The game's Strand system let players leave helpful structures for others, creating a unique sense of global community. At number 4, we have Super Mario Maker 2. Super Mario Maker 2 expanded on its predecessor, letting players craft and share Mario levels with new themes, tools, and a story mode for inspiration. Its online community thrived with creativity. Nintendo added a multiplayer mode for the first time, letting players race or collaborate on levels in real time. Number 3 is Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium was a groundbreaking RPG with no combat, focusing on dialogue, detective work, and a deeply personal story as a washed-up cop in Revachol. Its writing was literary genius. The game's developers at ZAUM were inspired by tabletop RPGs and classic noir, crafting a world where every choice shaped your psyche. At number 2, we have Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Shadows Die Twice was From Software's Ninja epic, trading Souls RPG roots for precise, rhythm-based combat in feudal Japan. Its stealth and grappling hook added new depth. The game's resurrection mechanic was designed to encourage aggressive play, letting players cheat death to keep the fight going. And finally, at the top spot, number 1 is Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 was a stunning remake of the 1998 classic, reimagining Leon and Claire's Raccoon City nightmare with modern visuals, over-the-shoulder gameplay, and terrifying zombies. Its atmosphere was unmatched. Capcom rebuilt the game from scratch using the RE engine, ensuring every hallway and scare felt fresh, yet nostalgic. And there you have it, folks. The top 10 games of 2019, each a vibrant milestone in gaming's late 2010s era. What's your favorite from this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Up next, 2020.